Welcome back, traders. Welcome back to the channel. So I'm back again with another video, and today is 2nd August 2025. That means it is a Saturday, and the market closed yesterday. However, for Bitcoin, the market is still moving because Bitcoin never rests. It works even the weekend. Bitcoin has no weekends and public holidays. It keeps on working. So even today Bitcoin is into play. So on the charts we have BTC USD. So we're going to be going through the analysis of BTC USD. We're also going to be checking on US oil, and we're also going to be checking on gold USD. But gold, that is particular trade that happened last week. US oil, I think it is a trade that we are expecting to happen if that zone is respected. However, we're going to approach it with caution, but I'll be showing you everything in a short while. So we are on Bitcoin, and guys, this week and last week we've been moving slowly. We remember we're on the road to 500 subscribers. So far we have 480. So we have 20 more subscribers to go. So kindly whoever watches the video, subscribe to the channel, be part of the 20 subscribers to get us to 500 subscribers. Guys, be part of the 20 subscribers that are getting us to the 500 subscriber mark. Be part of this growing traders community. Remember, we grew from 0 to 480 subscribers in the last, I think, 3 months. So the growth is not that bad. So let's just keep on subscribing such that we can manage to grow the channel. So I'll give you 5 seconds. Subscribe and be part of this growing journey. Okay, I hope you have subscribed. So now guys, let us proceed. So we have, let me just delete this. We have Bitcoin, and this is the weekly time frame. When you look at Bitcoin on this chart, what do you see? You see a clear uptrend, a clean and clear uptrend. This is a higher high and a higher low. Then we broke this area and made another high high, and then made another higher low. That was a retracement or a pullback, and then we have come to break this zone here to make another higher high. So after making this high, since Bitcoin is an uptrend, we can only anticipate that we are going to make another higher low. However, this high here is not a convincing high from this one. Yes, it is a high. You can say clear break and close above. This is a weekly candle. I think 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 weekly candles broke and closed above. So that is a high. However, if you look at this this high here, if it comes to make a higher low, where do you expect that higher low to be? There are only 2 areas that you can expect. The first significant one is this one here. You mark this candle. Then the second one is this one here. So if price is going to make a significant pullback, then probably the higher low is supposed to be around here in this area. We see an inducement here. So we expect price to react from this demand zone below because there is liquidity around here. So we expect price to come and react from this area and make another higher high. However, being Bitcoin, this is not guaranteed. Bitcoin can decide to come all the way. Bitcoin can decide to come all the way to this demand zone here and then make another higher high. So being a weekly time frame, we are still safe. That means we can use this area for confirmation entries, or we can use this one for confirmation entries. So when the price comes in this area on the weekly, so we shall drop to the 4 hour to look for confirmations to buy to the upside if only price gets into this area. If it doesn't, that means we're going to be selling into this area and then we buy to the upside. So this is the weekly time frame. So far I have identified the immediate demand zone, which is this one. So after what do? We drop down to the one time frame below, that is the daily. When you come to the daily, you immediately notice that there is a clear zone below here with liquidity down here, inducement here with the liquidity, and there is a zone below here. So after breaking this high, we made a good move. 1 2 3 4 5 6, very good move. We consolidated a little bit. Now we are coming down here, so we expect price to come at least and react from this area. That is if it is continuing with an uptrend. If it is not, then it will be dropping down here to use this demand zone in this area here. But we are waiting here. We shall need confirmations on the 4 hour. So if I continue on the 4 hour to see what is happening, how the zone looks like. The 4 hour, the zone is not actually that significant, but still there is that equal loss behind here. We always expect this equal loss to be swept, then price can proceed to the upside. So far we have made a lower low, breaking this previous structure here. So that means we have confirmation that we are going down. So we can look to sell from this area, where we can look to sell from this demand zone, supply zone here. You see, in 2 indecision candles and 1 good engulfing candle. So we can look to sell from this area. There's also support that turns into resistance. So we can look to sell from this area. You see, there is support that turns into resistance, and that is Bitcoin. So we can look to sell from this area and target this liquidity below here, or this demand zone here. So your ideal trade should look something like this. Since this is Bitcoin, Bitcoin is so volatile, so your ideal trade should look something like this, like that. And then your target 1 should be here, that is around 270 pips, and then target 2 should be down here, that is around 800 pips. 1 is to 9. So Bitcoin, this is the setup that we have. Let me go on the daily, on the 1 hour. I see if it is more clear. 1 hour it is not. So by the way, we also have that setup on 1 hour. If I go to the line chart, you see the support broken, turns into resistance, price drops. So on the 1 hour, 2 hour, 2 hour not clear, 3 hours. 3 hour now is more clear. 3 hour is more clear. So I think that is that. We shall be waiting for price to come here, and then we can drop it to the downside and buy from the bottom. So that is Bitcoin. Watch out for that zone. So let's proceed to gold. For gold did something that I was not ready for. So as you can see, we have equal lows here, this low and this low. There are 2 equal lows, that means there is liquidity resting down here. So I expected gold to come and tap into this zone down, and then it can buy. However, gold came, used this area and bought, and this is a demand zone on the 4 hour. Gold used that demand zone on the 4 hour and then bought massively this demand zone here. You see this indecision candle. So gold used this area and bought massively. I must say this is not one area that I would have bought from. I don't think it is one area that I would have bought from. However, gold used it and bought massively to the upside. So far, gold is heading to the upside, and the target, I think, is first level target is this supply zone. If it breaks, then we are going for this high. So gold going into next week, there are buys. You're just going to drop down to the lower time frames like the 1 hour and look for demand zones to buy, because after breaking this high here, you don't expect price to come down. So we shall just be looking for clear demand zones and then buy them to the upside. So let me see on the 4 hour and on the 45 minutes. I don't see nothing. Even the 30 minutes I'm not seeing anything. So even 15 I'm not seeing anything. I think the 1 hour is the one that is clear. Rally, base, rally. You see, there's a rally here, base rally. So just wait for price to come and tap you in, and then we go to the upside. That is a zone that you should be looking out for gold. Okay, so let's proceed to the US oil. So US oil, let's start from the daily time frame. We had down US oil. There is something that is tricky. Let's go to the weekly. You see US oil on the weekly. This is what we have. We dropped, and I expected us to drop up to the weekly demand zone, forming a weekly head and shoulder. You see, this is low, high, low, higher, high. So this is where we're supposed to buy from on the weekly time frame. However, US oil has stalled from this area here, making a double bottom, and immediately it went up. However, it has not closed above here. So it is looking bearish, especially with these huge rejections. I expect US oil next week to drop up to this weekly demand zone. Now, with that being said, we come back to our daily. So on the daily, there's something that has happened. There's a higher high breaking this structure, and then a higher low using this demand zone to buy to the upside. Even this one, there are many higher highs and higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher high. So it's like we are using a demand for our demand zone here, but there is also a daily demand zone here, but there is also a weekly demand zone down. So that is a big issue there. If you look at the 4 hour, this is how it looks like. So we shall just extend this supply zone on the 4 hour to around that area, like that. Supply zone on the 4 hour. So now what are we expecting is, if price respects this zone, this is where we are likely to sell from. However, if price can decide to just continue to the upside, so what you do, you should take your profits from this area. You don't go beyond this area. If price doesn't respect this zone and breaks it, then we are looking to sell from this one here. That means price is going to go down, break this zone, and then retrace up to here, then sell massively to the weekly demand zone. That is what I'm expecting on US oil. However, what I expect is that price is not going to go below here. We shall first buy up to around this area. If we had sell, we shall sell from this. So I'm expecting this area to be respected. So you can watch out going to the next week to see how that is going to go. So I think that is all. I just wanted to give a quick video on that. However, you can also come to I think US oil will buy from here, guys. So just watch out this trade. You can also come to the I think I can touch a little bit on Euro USD, because most people trade Euro USD. So Euro USD, just come to the weekly time frame to understand what is happening. So on Euro USD, on the weekly time frame, there was news that gave a huge rejection. Now if you draw our demand zone like this was a tricky one, because there was a lot of indecision candles in that area. So it was a tricky one to draw. I could not go beyond this. It was a tricky one. It was not some that was confused. That was clear. So there's also one here, but this one was violated because of the news. Yesterday we had NFT. So let's drop down to the Euro USD, still bullish. is looking bullish, okay, on the weekly time frame. Why? Because it has broken this previous weekly resistance, broke this, made a higher low, broke even this one to make another high. So this one is looking like a higher low. However, I still expect USD to retrace down a little bit, still use this zone fully, and then if it is to buy, go to the upside. So with that being said, we drop down to the daily time frame. So the daily time frame, this zone can be refined up to that area there, and if you look at it very well, there is support that turned into resistance here. Resistance broken turns into support, leaving a demand zone, and it goes up. But it is one that was tricky. It is one that was tricky. So price came back, used this zone, used the zone clearly, and then immediately shot to the upside. So it has so far broken this area, so we expect it to come up here or even go further. So how do we take advantage of that? Simple. Come to the 4 hour, look at the possible demand zone. We have this one, drop, base, rally, breaking this high here, so there's a demand zone around this one here. So we just wait for price. If it is to come back, test this area and goes up. Let me see if we can get one clear on the 1 hour. 1 hour we don't have. The only one we have is drop, base, rally, this one here. So I think this one you can do it like this. This is drop, base, rally on the 1 hour. So come to the 30 minutes, nothing. 15 minutes, nothing. So you cannot, beyond the 1 hour, you're not getting something clear. So you just wait for, when the 2 hours is a drop, base, rally. So just wait for that area, but you enter this with confirmations from the 15 minutes time frame. Okay, the video is already 17 minutes. I'll end there. If you've learned something from the video, subscribe to the channel. Also like the video if you have learned something. If you have not learned anything, rewatch the video again, but this time slowly. You can also monitor this zone and see what will happen there. So that's all for today. Bye.